Welcome back. I know it's been a minute. But this is Scripts and Screens episode 10. And I'm Ashana Robinson.
And I'm Imani Nicole.
And yeah, it's been like 3 weeks. So let's
No,
get
it's been
right
a
into
minute.
it. Yeah, let's get right into it because we got a whole lot to cover.
It's been a minute.
Yes. So since we last spoke to you guys, they have had an Oscar ceremony, which Oppenheimer came in and just was like, we're going to take it all. And I'm so
Yep.
glad we're talking about them today because it was a really good film. Oppenheimer had 7 Oscars. Best Supporting Actor went to Robert Downey Jr., Best Film Editing, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score, Best Actor went to Cillian Murphy, Best Cinematography, Best Director went to Christopher Nolan, and then Best Picture overall. So they did excellence at the Oscars. Another film that we'll be talking about next week actually took 4 Oscars was Poor Things. It was Best Actress in a Stone, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Production Design, and Best Costume Design. Also, American Fiction, which was a favorite we went over a couple weeks ago, that got Best Adapted Screenplay because it was originally a book. And then also The Holdovers had Best Supporting Actress Divine Joy Randolph, and this was her first Oscar win, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
Yes, so that was a really big deal. I think she went to school with Lupita. Don't quote me on
Oh,
that.
really?
Don't quote
That's
me on that.
cute.
I'll have to fact check that. But I think they went
Okay.
to actor school together. I'll do that really quick while
That's
you go
cute,
over.
though. I didn't know that.
So it was either her or somebody else. Let me go ahead and fact check. I'm over here telling stories early in the morning.
No, literally. You had the excuse that if you were telling a wrong story, it's early, you didn't have your coffee, no one's blaming you.
I just texted my mom, was like, I think I need some orange juice.
I'm weak.
And Divine Joy. Did she go to school? But yeah, so that was the Oscars. Of course, that's every year. I think they already dropped the dates for next year, but I'll keep y'all
Oh,
posted
wow.
next week. Yeah.
I want an Oscar invitation. That's going to be on my bucket
Right.
list. Just want to invite, even if I'm somebody's date or something.
Right.
I just want to invite.
So yeah, they're definitely cool. They're connected. Divine Joy and Lupita. So I'm pretty sure they said
Okay.
they went to acting school together.
That's cool. I'm sure they'd love to like see each other win and kill it. Because Lupita had her wave of being out here and getting her awards.
That's my girl.
Yeah, I like her too. She does a great job.
Yes. So.
I wonder how her and Joshua are doing.
I was thinking about them the other day because I saw what was her name? Jody?
Jody. Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, he got a type.
He does. He definitely has a type. He definitely has a type. He loves his little chocolate drops.
Sure does. So yeah, so you tell us about Mr. Diddy. That's also been
not Mr. Diddy. I don't even think he deserves. Like, no, let me stop. I was gonna say put the respect of even calling him Mr. Diddy. He's a peasant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, whatever his legal name is, that's what they're gonna say in court when they give him that sentence.
Sean Combs.
Sean Combs. It's a mess. It's a literal mess. And it's so crazy to think that like basically Cassie's lawsuit was the tipping domino and now it's just going around and the dominoes are just falling. And I saw something about like the kids were arrested and Diddy wasn't even home.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing stuff about like his sons being involved and yes. Off a quick app. And you know what? That could be clickbait, but it's NBC News. I don't know. It could be clickbait, but it says.
I don't see how they could not know. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But how do you hide it from the girls, though? Because don't they all live in the house together?
I think so.
And then, 50 Cent's been trolling like crazy. And I heard like he's been like wanting Jay-Z to speak up because allegedly Jay-Z and Diddy are close. I don't really follow the whole Beyonce Jay-Z thing. I know you're a Beyonce fan. Are Jay-Z and Diddy like friends? Is that like a known thing?
They're like, because I think just because their status and like the money they make, like they are, they be at the Roc Nation brunch.
And their record labels, yeah.
I don't know how much they party together outside of that, but they are seen like together, like, we're the billionaire boys club of black men.
Yeah, they swear Jay-Z's next. I
I know.
don't know.
I mean, I love Jay-Z. I don't think he's in any like perverted stuff, but do I think maybe he had a few people killed? I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. Like
I don't want
when
it to
you're
be true. I don't want it to be true because
yeah,
I love
when you're
Jay-Z.
in, because I like Jay-Z too, but I don't put anything past
Anybody.
anybody, especially when you have a lot of money. Sometimes you just don't think straight, and it's so easy, I feel like, in that
Hmm.
industry because you want something so bad that you are willing to bend your morals and principles.
Hmm.
And I, and I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but they're saying Diddy did get to Usher. I don't know if he did or not,
I
but that's what they say.
At this point they can tell me did he did anything, and they ain't got to tell me twice. I believe it. I
I
believe it.
know. And it's just like,
I believe it.
and then I kind of always wonder too, like when things have happened with other people, if Diddy commented. I don't remember him really being the type to comment on matters, but it's like when the R. Kelly stuff dropped, were you like, I
Right.
hope you weren't tweeting. Like, I hope you weren't saying anything at all. Like, nothing came out of
Right.
your mouth.
Right.
Because when you know you're doing this kind of behavior and activity, you shouldn't really comment on anything. But,
Hmm.
and then I just always remember people talking about the whole Justin Bieber situation and how uncomfortable that little boy looked.
Hmm.
And
And
it's
even
just,
now, you can
it's
tell
just
something is
crazy.
off with him. Like he's
Yeah,
not.
but I don't think it's due to it's not, I don't think it's Diddy related though, but yeah, something's off. I don't know if he's
I
not
don't know.
happy in his marriage. I don't know.
I think it's probably just he's been suppressing stuff for years.
Yeah, I think he's been on two opposite sides of the spectrum. It's been like the goody two shoes Nickelodeon version Justin Bieber, and now we're getting like the I don't give a damn about anything. My wife can be dressed for a whole ball and I'm dressed like I'm making a quick 7-Eleven run.
Adam Sandler.
Yes, he's on Adam Sandler. And like, I don't know why maybe we don't give him the same grace that we give Adam, but I guess because Adam never switched up. I think that's why we respect Adam so much because Adam, it was always Adam. Adam never switched up. It wasn't like Adam was Marnie down and then all of a sudden was like in starter. Like Adam's been starter from jump. I love me some Adam Sandler. I love
He's
that
like
man.
Jakob. Jakob.
Yeah. And Hanus.
Uh-huh.
I miss my little spider. Somebody killed a spider at work yesterday, and I thought to myself, like, that was probably Hanus. You ain't.
Not her news.
But that was probably Hanus, baby Hanus. It's crazy.
That is funny. But yeah, and even like, I just felt like Diddy had like an evil spirit. I don't know, just 'cause I've
Really?
heard so much
I,
about
di- I
him.
I did start to think not the evil spirit, but started to like turn. The wheels started turning when Aubrey O'Day was saying how like they had all these NDAs, they couldn't speak on certain stuff, and like
Yeah.
she was saying how a lot of stuff was going down, and like how it was kind of like the demise of Danny Kane was because of the kind of BS he was on, and now that all this is happening, I want to hear from Day 26.
Yeah, that's what they said
I
they
want to
need.
hear from Day 26, which was nothing but a all men band. I
Mhm.
need to hear from them.
Oh, and what's it, B12? They said them too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, B12. I think he was over B12. They was like, we need to hear from them as well. Because remember, they were all a boy band.
B12.
You remember that? They had that song, I
Yes,
think,
but I'm trying to
Hydraulic.
think of the. I'm trying to think if they sing that song where it's like the kids in the classroom and they're like, but I can't think of the damn song.
Let me
And it's
see.
got a nice hot beat on it too. Do 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 do. Oh, I can't think of what it
Was
is.
it B12? Hold
But
on.
it was like kids in the classroom and they were like,
Are you thinking of mindless behavior?
is that a Diddy group?
I don't think so. I hope not.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Mindless Behavior. I hope them
Yes.
boys went to school. I
You're
don't know
thinking
what they're
of
doing now, but
Mrs. Right because Avery loves that song, and she
is
loves
it
that
Mrs.
video.
Right?
Yes. Yeah, they're in the classroom. Where is Mrs. Right? I gotta see
To
her.
see her
Yeah, that's what
all
they're
around the world just to meet.
thinking.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Diddy was probably on that. Look at that.
You know what? He probably was somewhere. Probably was. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you. He probably was.
That's thick though. Like, oh, I don't like to like we're all God's children and stuff, and I don't know. And like I'm getting less like the more I'm reading and stuff, the less I am. I'm still like I guess less empathetic, more sympathetic, but I'm not empathetic because like I don't share those thought processes.
Hmm.
But I am sympathetic to someone that's like grown up differently than me that has a different mindset.
Hmm.
But it's like the more I read, it's like things really are a choice, and a lot of times the things that we come up with are we're really all manipulative in a way. Like we
Mm-hmm.
know that if we lean into a certain feeling, lean into a certain thing, it's going to get a certain reaction. Like
Right.
leaning into being sad, leaning into like all that stuff generates certain responses. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just learning that like if you really want to be emotionally intelligent, you can be. It's just up to you. And that's why I have less like I'm not as empathetic to Diddy or like, Jeffrey Dahmer. I know it's hard to correlate the two, but it's just like people who do insanely outrageous things because it's like you do have a choice. Like coming up with a thing saying you don't have a choice and you just snapped,
Mm-hmm.
like isn't real. You can control anger because you controlled it, when you were in the grocery store and didn't slit someone's throat wide open in
Right.
public. You would do it in private. So like you can control these like, a lot of things that we say like I just snapped, I didn't know what I was doing is technically like not a real thing.
True.
And
And
it's
I
just
think
crazy.
even if you give grace for that, okay, you snap one time, but if you're repeatedly hurting people, like that is a
Yeah.
lifestyle choice. And I also want to
Yeah.
say, I said B12. B12 is definitely a vitamin. The band was called B5.
Yo, I was thinking hard as hell over here. I'm like B12, drop the
Yeah, the
B, just 112. And I'm
B5.
like, no,
It
that
was,
I was like 112 was grown men. Like,
yeah,
but
no,
yeah, I mean, Diddy
112.
don't discriminate. But
Right. Yeah, no,
okay,
B5. They were, I think it was five
B5.
brothers. Yes,
She
is the
said
name of the
B12.
band. Yeah, I'm just on my vitamin stuff. I'm sorry.
No, for real.
Again.
I do a B12 injection. I used to. I need to get back on those. It's
Oh,
supposed to give you
really?
energy. Yeah, they're supposed to give you energy. So like you can either do it underneath the skin or in the muscle. And it's supposed to give you
Oh,
an energy boost. But I don't
is that what
I did
she
it
was
one
doing
time.
on Death and Other Details? The governor, was she doing the B12 injections on the boat?
Oh, the death and other details. That I was so lost, and I'm ready for that show to conclude. Um, I don't remember. So much stuff
Yeah,
happened. It was
I
drawn
think.
out, and I missed the details. I
Yeah,
missed the details.
yeah. Do you want to go ahead and go into that since we already talking about it?
Oh, it's up to you. We can.
Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't matter to
we
me.
might as well. We already on it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure the black governor was getting B12 injections while she was on the
Yeah, she
boat.
was doing all kinds of. She was doing coke with the sun. She was doing
Oh
a
my
whole
gosh.
lot of
A whole
things. A
lot
whole
of
lot of
things.
things.
Yes. So I'll go ahead and read the description.
Okay.
Let you pull up the notes since I did a real quick audible. So
Excellent.
our the show that we watched this week was called Death and Other Details. It was a series. I believe it had 8 episodes. Don't get me to lying. The description
I think
is
it had
Imogen
more than
Scott.
that.
Really? Was it 10?
Girl, yeah, I think it had more than the typical 8. I'm about to go look.
Okay, it might have been 10. It was in between 8 and 10. Because the last
Hmm.
two, I felt like kind of was muddying it up. I don't know. It kind of fell off for me right there. But Imogene Scott finds herself in the wrong place at the wrong time and becomes the prime suspect in a locked room murder mystery. To prove her innocence, she must partner with a man she despises, Rufus Coatsworth, the world's greatest detective. So yeah, little Imogene, she
Not Imogen. I'm pretty sure it's Imogen.
Imogen, country
Imogen.
Imogene got the chickens outside. Okay, Imogen. She was a little girl who lived with her mom, single mom, and her single mom was like a secretary for her best friend's dad who had a buku amount of money. And she's literally getting out the car and the mom's car blows up. Like she's like 10. And the whole time we believe that she actually witnessed her mom blowing up in this car, but she just heard it. And I guess like her brain made her think she saw her mom physically in this vehicle blow up. So she was adopted
Hmm.
by her best friend's family, and she grew up rich, and she was, I guess, scheming off of taking money off the best friend. The best friend kind of just was turning her blind eye, I guess, because she felt bad because Imogen had no one. And they tried to hire
Hmm.
a detective to solve the murder,
Rufus Coatsworth.
Rufus Coatsworth, who promised her that he would solve it for her, but it just got messy and deeper, and he couldn't. So she spent like the next 18 years hating this man.
Hmm.
And then all of a sudden she's on a boat with him and they're solving a murder together of his partner who was undercover that was murdered.
Hmm.
I really liked how vibrant the colors of the show is. Like,
Wait, yeah, it did have a different kind of look to it.
yeah, it was
It
very
did. It did. It gave me like old school, but if like 8K existed like
right,
back in the day.
right. The way that they were dressed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it was the show. It was all right. It
It
wasn't.
just
It
was
was
dragged out for me. It was 10 episodes, and now I remember why we don't do 10. And all shows are now 8. And I used to be like, oh, I missed the times where it was 10. Death of the Details reminded me why it does not need to be 10.
because
Um,
those last two episodes,
yeah, we
I
could have
was
did that in
like,
that last one. We did not need to drag that out the way we did. Like
right.
and I remember literally watching this like, okay, last episode, like let's see. And then I'm like, wait, next episode. Like I was so confused. And then I saw next episode after that. So I didn't like the pace of it. I
Mm-mm.
thought it definitely, I didn't know who to expect. I'm just going to say that right now. Like, I thought everybody at one point, and
Yeah.
that was, I'm sure, was their point. I thought Sunil for a while, but Sunil was just a casualty. I thought Jules for a little bit, but
Hmm.
Jules was just fine, and just
Yeah.
Imogen's little boat fling. And then I also was like kind of confused on the dynamic with Sunil and Imogen and Jules because
It
I
was definitely
guess
like a triangle, like
it was, and it was like
love.
Jules throwing the alley oop to Sunil, like you go check on her. Like what? I was so confused
Yeah.
by that love triangle because I didn't really feel like Jules and Imogen had a connection because it was like a one night
Yeah. It was
stand
like
on the
purely
boat.
sexual. Yeah.
Yeah, but then they tried to make it seem like it was something deeper than that, which I only felt like she had a deeper connection with Sunil because they actually were spending actual legit time.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't like the way we found out that the mom was alive at the end because it almost was like no one could have predicted that. And I think that's what I don't like about it is that it was so far fetched that it wouldn't have been predictable. And I didn't like
Right.
that. Like she went and underwent face surgery, like all these different
Right.
things.
Because they had the whole
And
time they had us believing, like, I'm thinking Imogen is looking at her mama in this car blow up, like physically saw her. And then they're like, no,
yeah,
you thought you saw me. You were walking the other way. I slipped out the car and got into a truck
yeah,
and blew my
right,
own car up. And she literally was like Interpol. So nobody really called the real Interpol. Like, the real Interpol was not called because she was clearly not Interpol. She was just on the boat.
right. Talking in a thick
Eh,
German accent.
Right. And then changed her eye color and everything. I mean, I want to think
Yeah.
I would recognize my mom. I mean, it has been 20 years, but I don't know. I feel like it would be something about that lady. Like,
But
I
she
would,
got surgery though. She was saying she underwent facial reconstructive surgery.
right. But I feel like it would still, like, imaging never, I don't know. I feel like if my mom got her face completely redone, I would not, I wouldn't be like, this lady's my mom, but I'd probably be like, something is familiar about this woman. Just, I don't know. I feel like just her spirit, like your mom.
But I think like when you've gone, it had been 18 years. How long had it been?
Yeah, it
18?
has been
That's
for
a
me.
long time. When I'm 10 and I lose my mom at 18 and like I just have
Yeah,
picture, I feel like you that picture was burned in her mind. So when she
right.
see this lady with a thick accent, a blonde bob,
Yeah, it's probably, yeah,
no part of
thrown
her
off.
was even thinking to look in that
Right.
direction.
Because
But I think it maybe,
I wouldn't have
yeah, if it
assumed that it was my mom, but I don't know. I feel like she was completely removed to this woman, like as if she had never came from her body. Because you know, like even your sister just had this baby. That baby knows that's her
yeah,
mom, you know, and it's been a
yeah,
week.
yeah.
So
I'm
I'm
weak. Yeah,
like, so I'm like, even if I'm not thinking this lady is my mom, I'm still looking at her like twice, not just like the Interpol lady. Like
yeah.
it's something
But
about you.
then part of me thought that maybe she was. I thought it might have been the same situation like with Anna, her best friend, like where the mom was sleeping with the lawyer and had a kid. Like maybe someone else was really her mom,
Right.
or she
True.
had her dad or
True.
something. Because I don't think they dove into her dad.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, and then like I was confused too, even when the lawyer had died on the boat,
Mm-hmm.
and his finishing statement where he was like, he said such and such deserved better, and I felt like he was saying the mom's name.
Kyra.
Yeah, but I thought he realized who Kyra was when she faked like she was into bondage and was pouring like hot candle wax on his chest.
Yes, I think he did because she was like,
So I was
"Envision my
confused.
eyes
So like,
blue." Yeah,
so how are you going to say she deserves better when that is her? Like she
yeah,
doesn't deserve better. She's a despicable human.
yeah.
And that too, like there was no real just cause. the mom was a walking contradiction and the biggest hypocrite any murder mystery has ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to be taking out the bad, but all you're doing is picking their money and living lavishly. Like,
Hmm.
it defeats the whole purpose of you righting a wrong, because you're taking out innocent people. You're just trying to collect their money. Once you found your daughter and you had enough money, it still wasn't enough for you. So like, that just shows you're no different. It
Hmm.
wasn't really like you wanted to take them down. You were jealous, is what I got. Like, you
Yeah.
wanted their life.
Yeah. Yeah. She does not get the Mother's Day award at all because she
Oh
literally
no.
traumatized her kid for 20 years.
She did. And I'm glad that the daughter was so dissociated from her mother that she was able to set up that whole thing and get her arrested.
Yeah.
And you could tell that she was ready to take her own daughter out.
Hmm.
But there was no bullets in that gun, which is crazy.
Hmm. And she was
Like,
doing it for a
you're
room full of
wrong.
people. A room full of people at the restaurant was going to shoot her.
I was gonna shoot her and make a run for it.
Yeah. Yeah. It just,
Yeah, it was all over the place. Like, Layla, Anna's fiance, I thought her for a smidge second that she was acting cuckoo and it was fake. It wasn't real. And
hmm
then the Victor Sands, I was trying to understand, but we've now noticed there is no Victor Sands.
yeah, it was a
It
lot
took me
going
for a
on.
loop. It took me for a huge loop, and I don't know. Like, my whole thing is I want to have been able to rewatch it and then catch the small details that would have told me that it was this woman. But I feel like they were like, okay, we want to make them think everybody, but now we're gonna make, like, we wouldn't have ever thought Agent Hilda. Like, there was
Yeah,
nothing that even gave me a glimpse. I would have liked
nothing.
it if something would have gave me something to consider her in the factor, and they
Right.
did it. And I feel like that's not fair to the viewer, because the whole point of a murder mystery is to guess and see if you're that creative to figure it out. Like, you
Hmm.
may not get all the details right, but you'll be like, okay, that's the, like, even Murder at the End of the World.
Yes, I was trying to compare that to that. It's completely.
It's it Even though the murder was clearly AI, it still showed us how they were consulting with AI all the time.
It was very
This
well
show
done.
pulled the killer out of their ass, and
Hmm.
I just I don't know. It was
Yeah,
crazy. Yeah, like, I'm literally, like, when I was looking at my notes, I'm like, I'm making blind guesses. Nothing is exceptionally obvious. Like,
yeah.
and I thought maybe Rufus's partner wasn't actually dead. They just did this to get everyone to talk. Like,
hmm it was all over the place. And then like the dynamic between Anna and like her Asian girlfriend, and how she was cheating on
yes,
Layla.
whose mom bought the whole thing, and then this was just about greed and selling out, because the way her daughter went behind her mom's back and was like, I'm here to buy seats, even after her mom told her, I'm not gonna
Hmm.
participate in a game where the richest get to get on the plane. I'll just die here on this boat.
Right.
And it was all a ploy just for her to build her bank account up.
Hmm.
It's just so wild.
Yeah.
It's so wild. And then it just doesn't make sense too, because it's like, I don't also understand if her whole motive was money. Like, I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, I needed more background information to show us that too. Like, because they made it seem like she was a Samaritan trying to get information. Nothing was
Hmm.
showing like exploitation for money.
Hmm.
I needed more like
Yeah.
details and clues, and they
I
didn't give us that.
definitely agree. I feel like they had this whole show and they're like, oh, we need a killer. And then they like the
Mm-hmm.
last three episodes, they just inserted in the killer because, like you said, it was no breadcrumbs dropped. And again, I think
Yeah.
even like what I was saying, even if Imogene made have looked at her twice, like side eyed at least once, that would have gave us
Mm-hmm.
something to kind of go on. But it was
Yeah.
just nothing. Like it was just like this random Interpol lady that had no connections to nobody. And then
Right.
all of a sudden it's yeah, yeah, it was a lot. I did make a note that I could tell they had black writers in the room because I remember it was a scene where the governor was talking to the priest and she was like, "Don't
Mm-hmm.
even fix your lips to say something like that." And I'm like, "Yeah, they got some black writers in the room." So that's good. That was good. I think there was an overall. It was an
Forgot about the
mm,
pastor and his social media son.
yeah. That was I don't know. It was
Random and
very random.
unnecessary.
Mm-hmm. It's for
I
him to
love
be
the
a
boat.
priest.
The boat looks really good, and I was like, I'd love to cruise on that boat. That'd be a
Yeah,
good time.
that was a beautiful boat. That overall the cast was attractive. Like it was an attractive, like
Mm-hmm.
rich
It
looking boat.
was.
I did enjoy that. But yeah, I just really felt like you said it was a murder mystery, but they didn't give us they didn't really give us the tools we
It
needed
was
to
rigged.
really, yeah,
It
yeah,
was rigged. It was like the
yeah.
NBAs and all the stuff that they claim is all rigged and paid, and they were paid off. That's how I felt watching
Yeah.
the show. Like this show was rigged. It was
Mhm.
not meant for me to figure it out. It was not meant for me to try to puzzle the things together. Like,
Mhm.
and like in the way they put it together showed me that too. Is like I said, I was thinking everybody at one point in time was thought of, even the
Mhm.
mom. I was thinking the mom. I was even thinking the dad that had Alzheimer's or whatever he had,
Mhm.
the memory loss issues he had going on. I was
Right.
like, oh, it's him. It's definitely him.
Mhm. And the whole
I'm like,
time she
this is
was
all.
poisoning him. Wasn't
Mm-hmm.
removing his memory. He was being poisoned with
Giving him
extra
that
medication.
same whatever blue that they
Mhm.
was giving them workers.
Mhm. That's
But yeah,
crazy.
overall D plus, C
Yeah.
minus if I'm being generous. But yeah,
Yeah.
just
So for
yeah.
y'all that are confused and haven't watched it, basically the woman that we thought died and her daughter was, trying to solve her murder never actually died and appeared on this boat and was killing people on the boat. That's long story short. She never died. She just got facial surgery, got a bunch of money, started killing people like in this syndicate. Is that what they call it? That's the word they use.
I
But
think you
yeah,
might have said that from another movie, The Syndicate. And I
is
don't know what
it?
movie it is, but I love The Syndicate. I think it's from something that well known too. They might have called him The Syndicate in this too, but
I think
I remember
so.
The Syndicate specifically from another movie, but I can't remember the name of it. But it was like a huge thing with that movie, The Syndicate.
Okay, yeah.
I
So
can't think of
the
it.
syndicate is a group of individuals or organizations combined to promote a common interest. So yes, they
Mm-hmm.
did call this a syndicate too, because I guess it's it's an overall term. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so she started this whole thing where she was just killing people, making money, and left her daughter thinking she was dead for 20 years, then pops back up on the same boat cruise as her daughter and is just killing people on this boat. Yeah, it,
Yeah.
it was it was it was a mess. I had high hopes, especially the murder at the end of the world, because that was so
Mm-hmm.
good, so well laid out. And I'm like, yeah, another murder, who done it, murder mystery, but this just wasn't for us.
Fell flat. Yeah, it fell
Yeah,
flat.
yeah.
It had potential though. Like when it first started, I was like, okay, cool. Like
Hmm.
this is gonna be good. But then as it kept going, it just kept getting dragged, and I was just over it,
Yeah,
completely over it.
yeah. So yeah, that's Death and Other Details. Y'all go watch if you haven't watched. We're working on what we're gonna do over the summer. We might have y'all come
Yeah.
on and discuss with us.
Mm-hmm.
So I want y'all to be watching because we want to know what y'all said. I know you guys comment, on the page on YouTube and all that, but we're
Mm-hmm.
thinking it might be a little better if we actually have a dialogue with you guys.
Yeah, have some face to
So,
face.
so yeah, go watch the show because I mean, we got plenty of other stuff for you to watch, but
There's a whole long list of things now. Like we
yeah,
have a whole repertoire.
yeah, I'm gonna have to post the whole list of everything just combined of what we watched and talked about. So, but yeah, that was our show, Death and Other Details. So what should we move on to, Monty, since I've been jumped around? Oppenheimer
All
or
right,
Maestro?
we'll go into Maestro.
Okay.
Maestro.
All right. And let's see. Let me get my little description up. This movie, child.
I loved it. I
I
really
loved it
did.
too, but I just think Felicia was in over her head. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Okay, so my show, it had a few Grammy nominations, but it actually didn't take anything home.
Grammy, girl, that's music.
Oh shit. These early mornings. Oh my. Y'all, it's
A
like
few Oscar
6:30.
noms.
Oscar noms. Yes. Oh my god. I was in the Grammys. Anyway, but yeah, it didn't take anything home because hell, Oppenheimer took everything. It was
Right.
it
Nothing
was fun.
left.
Yes. So the description for this is on the verge of securing a golden opportunity. American conductor Leonard Bernstein begins a I can't, oh my god, it's early.
Tumultuous.
Tumultuous relationship with actress Felicia Montalegre, upturning their lives. So this starred Bradley Cooper, and I really like the way they did the makeup because they had him
Me
looking,
too.
yeah,
Me too. I
um,
even like looked at what the guy looked like, and so they did a really
really,
good
really,
job.
really good job. Yes, he was the star. I think he was up for. Grammy nomination for Best Actor for this. Again, I have to double
Yeah, and
check. I'm
probably
pretty sure.
best director because he
Yes,
directed this as
he
well.
also directed, yeah, and produced along with Steven Spielberg. I did see that he produced it too.
Oh,
Um,
I didn't see that. Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, so Bradley Cooper, and then they also had we for some reason we don't even try to do this, guys, but we seem to be watching stuff with people in it that just happened to repeat. Because like
Mm-hmm.
Felicia is Carrie Mulligan, and she was Linka in Spaceman with Adam Sandler. That I think that was last
Mm-hmm.
episode, and then she was also
Mm-hmm.
Pamela from Saltburn. And then, as you know, we seem to be obsessed with Kelvin Harrison Jr. because we've seen like 5 movies that he's done, and we talk about him again next week too. So it
It's
just
a Kelvin Stan pod.
clearly
Unintentionally a Kelvin Stan pod.
unintentionally. So it just I don't know. It seems like these characters are starting to connect.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even I feel like we're gonna get into Emily Blunt. I feel like we're gonna be watching some Emily Blunt stuff back
Oh,
to
for
back.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. I noticed that this and Oppenheimer, both of these movies use color to differentiate between time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you picked up on that. This movie also reminded me, I know this sounds crazy, but it reminded me that film is an expression of art because it was like very theatrical, like the way
Mm-hmm.
they
Yeah,
put
yeah,
things
yeah. Like
together.
when they were on their first date and they were like,
Hmm.
when she was practicing her lines and they break out into like a whole like music number
Yeah,
almost.
very theatrical. So I was like I know film is art, but it was just a nice reminder that it was. Okay, so I'm not trying to get canceled before I'm on, but
So you're not trying to get canceled?
before I'm even anybody, but I think I just know my limitations. I know my limitations. I don't even want to share my man with another woman, but for Felicia to notice that Leonard liked men and still go on green. She's a better woman than I am because I just couldn't. And I
Just
think,
I find it to be ignorance. I think that's the best way to describe it because like what makes you think and I don't want to say that no one's enough, but I don't think you should ever go into a relationship thinking that you supersede to make a
mhm,
man change. Like, oh, you alone is going to make this man never look at another man again. That's not
mhm,
how it works. And I feel like that she had that naive. She was naive. She was
yeah,
very, very naive and thought that if I give this man everything he wants in turn, I'll get what I want. And I think she realized that she
mhm,
signed herself up for a life of, they had a very toxic ass relationship, but there was a
yes,
lot of love there,
yeah.
like
It
a
was,
lot of love. And I feel like still that they were meant to be together, even though they were in like some toxicness, like
yeah.
some real toxic. But yeah, that was interesting because even when he was like with Matt Boomer, don't know, but his name is David. Is it Oppenheimer? Is his last name?
That can't be.
He's in. No, I'm sorry. His name was David Oppenheimer in that movie. Um, but David, who played like his little boyfriends that he would kiss and stuff, he's David is in like a lot of the American Horror Stories. Like he's a repeat character in those.
Oh, I think I do remember
Yes,
him. Okay.
he's in a lot of repeat. So like when they came back like from traveling and you could tell he was crushed. But you know what? We're speaking of Carrie being weird, but like there was a whole weird dynamic of even when he met back up again, and it seemed like didn't that man then marry a woman too? And he was like, I slept with both your mom
Yeah,
and your
I
dad.
I wrote that down. Okay, so he literally meets his old lover. He kisses both of them on the lips and then tells the
Now,
baby, "I
yes.
slept with both of your parents." Like,
And I
okay.
was confused because I thought that the other parent was his sister.
Oh, no, I don't know.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to do a deeper dive into that. But
Yeah, but I mean, I can't even fault Bernstein because he showed Felicia who he was. Like
yes,
the first
I
day
agree with that.
she peeped him, peeping that man, and then she is in his bed, and I'm like, okay, so she must not care. So I think like she was just getting so many perks from him, and like you said, I think she also felt like if she provided him with the kids and the stability, that he would steer away. But clearly, this man, I feel like he was more interested in men than women. He just really liked her, possibly.
Yeah, something about her. Yeah, when they had that meeting at that party, like something really just pulled and gravitated. And I
Right.
think it went to that. I wrote down that scene when they were like, I don't know, it looked like they were in a telephone booth, but they couldn't possibly be because they were inside of a home. But where he was basically saying, like, we're the same person. Like, you come from a
Yeah.
family of this and you want to be different than what your family did. Like, you're going to school for this, but ultimately you want to be an actress, but you're just going to school for this because you can't tell your parents you're going to
Mm-hmm.
school for this. And like, he was expected to follow in his parents' footsteps and take over the business, but he didn't want to do that. Like, he loved music. So
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he kind of saw himself in her, but it just um did not play out.
Yeah. And even when, because I emphasized with her, I mean, I put emphasize, empathized. I was typing this late with her on several levels, especially when she was at the doctor. Like, because I've been at the doctor, but like when the doctor
Mhm.
came in and just is like telling her, this is what it is and this is what we got to do. Like, I really felt that scene. And I hate to say this, but I really originally thought it was like some form of AIDS when the doctor came in there. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what my initial thought was.
oh.
Please don't cancel
I
me for
mean,
that. Please don't cancel me for that. But
yeah. I mean, the way Leonard was out here doing his thing, like,
yeah.
and I think that that's what, and like, I don't know, because I feel like people should ultimately be themselves, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, I never really heard them have a verbal agreement, and I think that's the problem. When you get into a marriage, you have to discuss your expectations. Look at me, sound like I've been divorced 2 times, and now I know how marriage works. But you have to have that discussion, and I feel like Carrie's thing was. But I feel like they did have the discussion because when the daughter heard like whisperings about her dad being gay, she was like, "You need to deny it."
Hmm.
Like, she does not need to know that. Like, she doesn't need those kids taunting her at school. Like, you need to deny it. And which he ultimately did. And you could tell the daughter was relieved that he was not.
Because you know what, and I feel like too, I feel like he was probably being messy and probably sleeping with kids in her class, like sleeping with kids in her age
Yes,
bracket.
and that's what I was gonna say was that like Leonard had some deep rooted issues, some insecure. I don't know what it was. He had some deep rooted. Well, he clearly had separation anxiety because he had to have the door open all the time. Like,
Hmm.
he could never be by himself. He had to have the door open because he was afraid of being alone. So
Hmm.
that is very dangerous. It's so dangerous to like be codependent. I think it's God intended for us to, of course, like, want love, want to have a family, but you need to be able to coexist by yourself for a few moments
Right.
while you're in the bathroom. You should not have to have the door open while you're reading the paper in the bathroom.
Right.
But like, even at the party, when like literally it's a party and he goes off with this young little boy and she comes around the corner and it's just like,
Yeah. I think I wrote that
she
down
was so
too.
big on like discretion. Like, I know what you do, but just at least be damn discreet about it. Like,
Yeah,
damn.
that's all I'm asking. And then like there was the
Yeah.
scene where I think they were at the orchestra and she's sitting next to him
Yes. Oh
and
my
he's
God.
talking
When
and
their
like,
hands, that made me sick. Shawnee, when I tell you I would have served my man papers that day, like, you know what? And I think this is the thing too, that we have to, that I probably will contradict myself because I do think you should accept people for how they are, but I think it's also okay to change your mind. Maybe I thought I was okay with this and now I'm learning I'm not. I don't
yeah.
want to do this anymore.
And I
I
think
don't
she
want to
did
do this
get to
anymore.
that
She did,
point.
like, when she finally had, they left and like, but then that's the thing too, like, I felt like Leonard was, and when I use these terms, I think we look at them as bad things, but like, we all are these things. But I think Leonard was so manipulative because like after they broke up, then I felt like he was trying to still like have a relationship and she kept trying to like draw boundaries and lines. And like, he didn't want that because he
Hmm.
loved his family and wanted his family. And I think men want that all the time. They want their family and everything that comes with the family dynamic, but wants to be able to go and do them. You cannot do that. You have to pick one or the other. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Hmm. And
Even though you
he,
should eat your cake. We need to change that saying because that shit don't make sense. What you
yeah,
supposed to do
because
with cake? You're
he,
supposed to eat it. How you can't have your cake and eat it
right.
too? I know when whoever first said that, they were like, "That's brilliant," and it's
Right.
really not. But
Unless
yeah, it
they
just
meant like
was a
literally like
mess.
save your cake and eat it. Like you can't have a slice of cake and you're trying to save it for later and eat it now, unless that's what they meant by
Yeah,
that. But
yeah.
yeah,
Like, you
Leonard
can't say that
wanted
ticket to go.
all the cake. He wanted the younger the cake. Even like when he was older, and I think she had died at this point, but like he was the young conductor, like the biracial boy, and he's like helping him. And then you
Oh
see him in the
yeah,
club
and
with
like
her.
yes, that was so weird.
And the
Leonard had
older
a
he
whole lot of
got,
weird stuff going on.
yeah, the older he got, the creepier it got. But then another scene that I did right, which I also connected with her, not anymore, but she had that whole monologue where she was at the brunch or whatever with her friend explaining how she thought she was going on a date and the date ended up asking her about another man, like trying to get her to put her on him on with another man. And she had that whole monologue of how she's attracted to a certain type of man, like she's attracted to gay men.
Oh,
And
I
do you
missed
remember that?
that.
Oh yeah, no.
No.
They were at lunch, her and a friend, and her friend's like, "Well, how did your date go?" And she's like, I was nervous and blushing. And he turns around and asks me about a gay man, basically like put him on
I
with
completely
another
missed that. I
man.
thought the date went very well and they were like dating and she was happy.
No, 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 no. That man, they went out on a date and he asked her to put him on with her gay friend. And then she goes on
Oh,
this whole
wow.
monologue of how she's attracted to gay men. And honestly, I think I went through that phase too in my younger days. Like all of my younger
Oh, for
crushes.
Oh, for sure. Like, there's a lot of men now that like back then and then as I've gotten older, I don't want to say they're gay because none of the people that, I've been interested in have, walked out of that closet, but there are definitely a lot of feminine attributes.
Are full blown gay. They probably do it better than me. Full blown.
Really?
Yes. Full blown.
I'm trying to think real hard, Johnny. I cannot think of anybody you've dealt with that is full blown
Not in my older
gay.
years, but I'm talking about like young crushes, like middle school, like
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
those men now, yeah, are
Okay, okay, okay.
full
I
blown.
got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
But yeah, it just
And then also what I noticed about it was like I liked how I did like their story, like their love story, even though it was
yes, it was
not your
something
typical.
about it.
Yeah, like it grabbed me. Like even when like she was outside, when Felicia was outside talking to his sister, Shirley,
Mhm.
or Nina. I don't remember which one. I think it was Shirley though. And she was basically like, Shirley was asking her, how do you do it? And basically she said, I just have to become a shell of a person because he has to have the light. I
Mhm.
can't, I just, it's okay. Like once, and then she also was almost making it seem like if I decide I want the light too, is it worth the consequence of what he might do? Like she let Leonard play such a victim role
Mhm.
and she really fed into that, and she like, even if she wanted a bit of stardom, she knew she couldn't because both of their lights couldn't shine because it would cause another sub issue. So I
Right.
think she felt like if I don't feed into it and I let you be the star of this marriage, the star in your life, the star in everything, like it'll work out. And I felt like they had a really fun relationship. They had went through a lot, but I also think that sometimes people associate like, oh, I've put you through the ringer and you're still here, so like that's why we should be together, which I don't agree with that mindset at
Mhm.
all. Like I firmly believe that people who genuinely and truly love you wouldn't put you through the ringer. And I don't want, what do you call it? Like consequential love, where it's like, well, due to the consequences or due to the situation, you love me so much because you
Right.
realize that I've done all this. And I feel like a lot of scenarios when I hear people talk about like, well, how did you know she was the one? Like I've literally heard men be like, well, like I did her so dirty and she stayed down and I like just realized that this is who I'm supposed to be with. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I want my man to never be my story. Like I don't
Right.
like that. I
Like I
don't
want
like
him to
that at all.
say she's my best friend. Like I look to her for advice. Like not I treated her like shit and she's still here.
Yeah, like I looked at every other woman, wanted them real bad, and when it all went south, she was still there. Like, no, I wanted to be like after
Yeah.
her. Like, I didn't want anybody else. Like,
Mhm.
I was content. Like, yes, are there other women that are attractive? Are there women that like I would have been with had I not found her? Yes, but it's not worth the risk of what I have, and I don't have a grass is greener mindset. And I think
Right.
that that's what gets people in trouble. And I think also that Leonard knew there was really no consequences. He could do what he wanted. He knew there was really no consequence. Like
Mhm.
she he was like, I can do this. She's not going to actually leave me. And then like when she does leave him, it's not for too long because then she gets sick.
Yeah.
And I feel like when she was sick, that was the only time where this man wasn't messing with other men and was actually not putting his
Yes.
career first.
Yeah. This was the
But I
first time
also
he
don't
prioritized her.
understand. Yeah, but I also don't understand that logic in a way because it's like I don't know. Like, so it just confuses my mind. 'Cause it's like, are you genuine? Like, you can really do these things, but you don't care about me enough to do them. But now that you know that I clearly have 10 days left on this earth, you're like, yeah, I can give you these 10 days of like being what you wanted me to be.
Mhm.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
was so interesting. But I did like how I like how like her ghost, like he would say he would see her in the garden and the kids are jealous because they don't see her, but he's like, I see her every morning. when he was like giving his interview. And I never really knew anything about conducting. Like, you know, when you see them,
Yeah.
like, and like when he was explaining to them, like, I always thought that like the notes are written, like you're just playing the notes. Like, if it's meant to be, but I guess you can't write a crescendo.
Yeah. Like I remember I was in
So
a
like when he would do
band.
something like this, I'm like, okay, so like you can't really, so like honestly, when you go to an orchestra, you don't really know, like the conductor has to like, but I always thought it was choreographed. Like I found a new level of like wanting to like
Mm-hmm.
research a conductor
Yeah.
because
Like,
I never, we always make fun of like that drumline scene where he's like,
mm-hmm.
like it's just,
But
so it was
it's,
interesting to me.
yeah, I'm excited because, I think I told you on the phone yesterday, I'm going to Juilliard, the orchestra up there. So this, like, watching this made me a little more excited for that too. But yeah, I think,
Hmm.
like, I remember, like, when I was in band, the notes are there, but the conductor really is, like you said, conducting like a train, like he's driving it
Yeah. So you
forward.
remember when you were in band, if he put that hand to that man, you need to blow harder than that tuba.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is so interesting. More. That is hilarious. And I thought what was also crazy was he did that when he had to fill in for that guy, which is what made his whole career,
Yes.
was he was only 25. So now that does make sense. I guess if it was a choreographed thing, you wouldn't really need a conductor. And he was
Right.
able to just fill in on the spot. So it's like, how can you just fill in on the spot? So I guess you just look at the music and you're like, all right, I think this should be hit
Mm-hmm.
this one. But yeah, like the fact that they said that he did that at 25 is insane because I just think about myself at 25 and I can't
Mm-hmm.
see myself like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I felt like they were pulling him in all different directions because he wanted to wear so many different hats. Like he liked writing too, and he
Mm-hmm.
liked conducting and
Mm-hmm.
it made it seem like he couldn't pick, like he had to pick one or the other.
Right.
And but he ended up, doing a whole bunch of different things. And I saw they mentioned like he wrote like I think one of the songs in West Side Story, which is like one of my favorites.
Yes. And I don't know if I mentioned this. I also love like the whole soundtrack of the movie was all his work. Did you notice that?
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Like every time they
Oh,
played
I
a
didn't
song,
know.
I use subtitles. So every time they played a song, it was literally Leonard
Yeah.
Bernstein. Like it was all his
Oh,
music.
that's awesome. And I
Hmm.
honestly never heard of Leonard Bernstein a day in my life until this movie.
Me either. I'm learning so much with like watching all this
No,
stuff
literally,
between him and wrestling.
literally,
But they're really,
no.
again, they're giving these LGBTQ, figures the like that, that they deserved all this time. I guess now it's more quote unquote acceptable. So they're able to do that now. But I'm learning a lot. I'm glad I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, it just opens up your mind to
Mm-hmm.
so many different things. And
Mm-hmm.
that was the thing for me. Like I really enjoyed like the film. I liked the colors. I liked the outfits. I just liked everything about it. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was put together very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought Bradley Cooper was talented though, because he's done so many dynamic roles. And I think that
Right.
that's what makes a great actor is someone who can not just play one role, but really
Mm-hmm.
does a good job.
What was Vlad saying? He was like, I want to watch that movie with that you watch with the guy from The Hangover. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you know what? He is in The Hangover.
Yes, that's like his
Like
breakout film, I
that's
feel
his break,
like.
right? But it's like this movie is so like far removed from The Hangover. Like I'm over here
Hmm.
looking at him as this conductor, and I'm like, you know what? Bradley Cooper is definitely in The Hangover. That is crazy. Like I knew it, but you gotta
Yeah,
connect.
you got to connect the dots. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah,
oh,
I,
and there was
I
something else
enjoyed
you
it
had
though.
said. What did you say? Oh, you were saying how Felicia had to be in a show, and I think that's very, very interesting because yes, but she was a star in her own right too, which was
Yeah,
crazy
because she
to
was an
me.
actress.
So yeah, so it's not even like she was just this lady, who just had like a pretty little life or
Hmm.
something. She actually literally was a star and was making moves on her own. So she really had
Yes.
to put herself in a bubble to make this relationship work with him.
Yes, and I think that's what saved her sanity was being able to act and let those emotions pour out in her work
That's a good
because she
point.
couldn't really let it pour out at home. It
That's a
was
really
like,
good point. Yeah.
no.
So she was running stuff on set when she couldn't run anything in the house. That makes sense.
And then I wrote down so many quotes, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about with her. And Felicia had said, "Let's not make excuses. He didn't fail me. It's my own arrogance to think I could survive on what he could give. It's
Mm-hmm.
ironic. I would look at everyone, even my own children, with such pity because of their longing for his attention.
Mm-hmm. I saw
Like
that. I was
everybody
like,
just wanted this man's attention, the wife, the kids, and like you could never get it because Leonard wanted to be too much into everything. He wanted
mm-hmm.
to be too much into everything. And I just like how she read him too. Like when it, and like that was the thing, like Leonard always wanted to do things on his time. And like when the wife was tired of it, like when she wasn't going to come home for Thanksgiving, or like they had started to kind of fall apart. And then like she finally gets there, and they had that like whole debate in the room away from the children.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote down so many things she said. Like she also said, let's not make excuse. Oh, I just read that one. I'm wilding. She said he took 4 years to figure out if he wanted to marry her. And he said, you like the idea of me. How could he compete with that? And said, thank God she met who I wrote Dick Richard Hart. I wonder who that is. But I remember she was calling him out about taking 4 years to ask him to marry her. And I'm like, girl, that should have been your first red flag. Like, if you have to, like, literally get
Or
someone to, yeah, 4 years.
Phoenix.
4 years. And she was on it with the line. She said, standing under a bird that's full of shit. And that's how
Yep.
she felt like being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She has some. She hurt my feelings with some of these ones, and I wasn't
Yeah,
even.
she was reading his ass. She was like, you want to be sleepless and depressed so you can avoid fulfilling your obligations. And I agree with that. Like, he always had an excuse for something, like, oh, I can't do this, I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing this. But they were all choices. Like, you make choices to try to live a double life, be with me all day, then hit the streets at night. I don't care if you're tired and you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
do your duties as a parent, as a husband.
Right.
It was wild. It was wild. I mean, I definitely loved Felicia. Like my heartstrings are really for her, but at the same time, it was like, girl, you knew what you signed up for. And that's the part
Mm-hmm.
that like, and I like that she didn't try to like get people to feel sorry for her. Like she knew very well that she messed up essentially. Like
Yeah.
I did this to myself. I married this
Yeah.
man. I procreated with this man.
3 times.
And yes, 3 times.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. I wonder where his kids are today, because with his kids would still be alive, right?
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, they would have to have been because it looked like they were like in the
Yeah.
70s, 80s, so probably old, but they would still probably be here. Their grandparents, I'm sure.
And that's like so wild. And I feel like as we're getting like in this new age, we're losing kind of like these kind of people. Like, will we ever make a movie about a new age conductor? Like,
Right.
I don't know. I feel like if somebody came out and was like 22-year-old conductor leads something, I would like be fascinated and so interested in
Mhm.
that. But
Mhm.
like everything has kind of moved towards like a TikTok.
Right.
TikTok reality is just like the highest thing in the world. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's what sucks about growing, is that you lose this old age elegance.
Mhm.
And I love that. Like,
Mhm.
I love that. And I was a little bit weary because of the black and white. I think Malcolm and Marie just really ruined it for me with black and white.
Oh yeah.
I might need to retry it, but like I could not get into the movie. Like I thought it was cool, but
It was very toxic.
I didn't understand the concept of the. I was like, this is.
I felt drained. I remember feeling drained after watching it.
I could see that, and I just was like, it was a lot. So I turned it off. I'm like, okay, she's making this man Kraft mac and cheese. Like he just won an award, and they're having Kraft mac and cheese at home. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I was really excited because her name was Imani. And I was like, oh, I want to watch this. But I think I got into like 30, 40 minutes of it. And then I was just like, yeah,
It's just
this
like
isn't
one big
hitting.
argument. Yeah. I just
Yeah, like one, an argument filmed. No, literally one big argument
in black and white. One argument in
in
black.
black and white the whole time. So I liked how they, like you said, with Oppenheimer and
Maestro.
Maestro,
Mhm.
my how they did the different colors to
Mhm.
differentiate. I think that's smart because when you are doing things like that, it's real easy to get
Confused.
confused.
Mhm. And honestly, I
Like, you
was
got to keep.
confused with Oppenheimer a little bit until it cleared up at the
Me
end.
too.
Because I was like, wait, what is going on?
Yeah, I was confused too.
Yeah, but it all came together at the end. So, yeah, Maestro, what would you rate it?
I would give it like a B plus A minus. I really liked it. I
I
would
did
watch
too.
it again.
Yeah.
I would watch it again. I thought it was good.
Yeah. I'm sad it didn't win any, I was about to say Grammy again, any Oscars, but what it was
Yeah.
up against, I mean, hey,
Yeah, it was hard. It was
yeah,
hard.
yeah. So yeah, and the next one and the final one for today is the
Yes.
3 hour long Oppenheimer.
Yes. And it felt like every bit of 3 hours. I was that the pace. It was a little bit slow in the beginning. I'm
Mhm.
glad. I will say that I'm glad I watched it at home and not in theaters.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
I wouldn't have given it as much grace if I had watched that in theaters. I would have been like, oh my God. Especially because if you would go see that at like 7 or 8 o'clock, you're gonna be upset.
Hmm.
Because it was a very long movie.
Hmm. And I heard people were doing what they call it Barbieheimer, so they were doing like Barbie and then Oppenheimer back to back. Yeah. Mm-mm.
I don't know which one would you watch first, then watch second? Like would you do
We
the
were
slow, then
actually
the
we were discussing that in class. They were like, "Why would you watch Oppenheimer second when it's sad? You should watch that one first and then go watch Barbie." I don't know. I think honestly, I feel like if
Hmm.
I were to try to watch Oppenheimer first, I would not make it to the Barbie movie. I'd probably go home
Yeah, you'd be
because of
like,
how long it was.
true. And Barbie's kind of like quick and sweet and
Yeah.
but I also get whoever said that first line because that's what I do. Like if I ever it's late at night and I watch like something scary, I
Hmm.
definitely put on like Princess and the Frog before I go to bed to kind of like just make
Yeah.
sure we're on the
Balance it
same
out.
page.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want that to be the last thing on my mind before I close
Hmm.
my eyes.
Right.
Oh, Oppenheimer. You want to read the description and we get into that one?
Wait, where is the description? Hold on.
Oh, I have it. I have it up. I can read it.
Okay, go ahead.
During World War II, Lieutenant General Leslie Groves Jr. appoints physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer to work on the top secret Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer and a team of scientists spend years developing and designing the atomic bomb. Their work comes to fruition on July 16th, 1945, as they witness the world's first nuclear explosion, forever changing the course of history. And this was directed by Christopher Nolan, as we discussed earlier.
Hmm.
Um, and Cillian Murphy won for Best Actor. It's also got Florence Pugh in it, who plays Jean Tatlock, who was a communist. It's got Robert Downey Jr. in it, who plays Lewis, and then Emily Blunt, who plays Kitty, and then Matt Damon, who plays that general that appointed Cillian Murphy, who is Robert Oppenheimer.
Hmm.
Um, so the pace was a little bit long, and the beginning was really long, but I would say that it all tied together well. Like at the
Yes.
end of it, I wasn't mad about it being long, but it is something to note that okay, it's long. It's a little bit of a slow burn in the beginning, but for a crescendo ending, which
Yes.
I can appreciate and enjoy. What did
Yes.
you like about it?
I definitely agree. It was long. Definitely have 3 hours when you guys watch this, but it did not disappoint. The way it wrapped up, like you said, the crescendo ending, the cast that it had. It also had Josh Peck in there briefly. I don't know if you saw him from Drake and Josh.
I was he one of the students?
He was the one that actually hit the bomb when they first tested it out in Los Alamos. He was the one standing
Okay.
there. Yeah, that was him.
Okay. Yeah, because I
Um,
couldn't remember him in that part, but I remember him at the end where, like, after all that and he's old and they, like, are respecting him. And I remember him giving him a
yeah.
handshake.
Hmm. So, oh, that was him, wasn't it? Um, they did really good with the makeup too, aging them.
Yeah, they did.
But I definitely see why it got the Oscars that it did. The editing, the way the story wrapped up, and it was just like you could have told the story in a way, but I feel like you could have got that same Bob Marley One Love. I'm
Yeah,
glad they
true.
took like
Yes, their time.
yeah, they took their time and the way that they told the story, the back and forth between the court cases, the flashbacks. I think that
Hmm.
really helped make a story because I mean
Yes, agreed.
it's straightforward. He built a bomb, they loved him, then they hated him. You could have done that
Hmm.
plenty of different ways and it could have fell flat. but they really did it in a way that even though it was long, like you said, it's still not like, oh
Mm,
my God, I wasted 3 hours. Like, oh, this is good.
right. It
And you
was
know
like
what?
Harry
I
Potter long. Like it was
Yes,
necessary.
yes. And I think it's so crazy, Albert Einstein, like to see him in a movie. Like, I don't know. I think I just think of him as like old, old. So they
Me
kept
too.
saying,
Like, yeah, like I'll never see him in a movie because it's like way, way like if I
yeah,
see a movie with him in it, I won't watch it because it's probably black and white and way, way, way back in the day when
yeah,
they're like probably on the screen saying action with the little clap.
right. But he was around in World War II. I don't know. I feel like I need to retake all these history classes because, like,
I
what?
know, literally, because and then also like I remember like talking about the atomic bomb in school, but the name Oppenheimer does not ring bells for me.
Mm-mm.
And it's so crazy because history was my least favorite subject. And I tell people that all the time. Like, I really did not enjoy history growing up. Like, I was more like, loved English, loved science. I hated history because to
Mm-hmm.
me, it had no like science to it. It was just trying to remember a bunch of like mundane facts. But like, if it would have been presented to me in ways like this, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, I'd be like a history nut. Like,
Yeah.
these are the kind of things that I would want to, like, the whole Rustin movie, like, if it was given to us in ways where, like, we're not trying to make people into one dimensional characters and they're actually multidimensional, we see the different things that they had, like, show their human factors. Like
Mm-hmm.
in Oppenheimer, you see the love interest of like basically Kitty's cheating on her man. She don't like him, don't love her husband anyways. And you
Mm-hmm.
got Gene Tadlock, who's a communist leader who like can't be with Robert Oppenheimer because he won't convert, but like it's just no, she still like him, so she's still fooling with him, even though like he hasn't converted. And like Oppenheimer, even though he won't convert, loves her. Like if she calls, he drops everything. Like we need to know these things that make them human and relatable.
Mm-hmm. And he was 20 years her senior. He's 20 years her senior, like in real life.
Him or Gene Tatlock,
Um, Kit,
the
wait, hold on.
communist leader.
Jean, yeah, like, well, the actual characters, the what's her name?
Oh,
Florence.
Florence
She's like
Pugh. Yeah,
21.
she's our
Yeah,
age,
she's
isn't
like
she?
28. Yeah, she's 28. He's 47. I'm like, whoa.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, I looked that up. But back to what you were saying about history, I think that's why maybe because I don't like science, and clearly we see, and I was struggling in Dr. Slim's class. But in in the sixth grade, I
I'm
had
weak.
this history teacher, and she would literally dress up as the person she was talking about and come in
Oh,
and
that's
like do
cool.
a whole like talk to us as if she was that person, and we take notes.
Yeah,
So I really appreciated that. But
that's
like you
cool.
said, it gave more of like a realism, like this person is actually real. Because even with Rustin, like the whole scandals thing behind that, like all that makes things interesting and it
Yes.
humanizes people,
Yep.
which makes you want to learn more about them.
Yeah. Yep. Yep, it really does. And with this movie too, I liked how, like you said, the storytelling. Like I was confused about the it's not the initial scene in the movie, but it's in the beginning where he poisons that apple. I did not understand that, but he went back and like saved the like
Yeah.
took the apple, and I felt like it was kind of like a foreshadowing thing. Like it almost translated to him with the bomb. He
Oh,
built the bomb, but then he knew what was going on, so he like was like, I'm not gonna be a part of
that's
this.
good money. That is really good because I didn't even
Like
pick up
that
on that.
tie, because
But
the apple to me was so confusing, but then it made sense. Like, oh, he tried to poison the apple, but then he's like, you know what? I took the apple, so like I no longer can be held accountable for my action because I've corrected it. And I
mhm,
felt like that's what happened in the end. And the government tried to use him having a conscience as like, oh, you betrayed the government,
that
and
was
then flipped it at the
so
end, and he became
crazy.
a hero, which is insane.
That is so crazy to me. That is so because he was like the man of the year on Time magazine. Like he saved the country. And I even wrote down a quote that's two quotes from Truman. And he was like, do you think anyone in Nagasaki or Hiroshima gives a shit about who built the bomb? They only care about who dropped the bomb. I did. This is not on you. That's what he was telling Oppenheimer. And then when Oppenheimer
Mm-hmm.
was leaving, he was like, don't let that crybaby back in here. But yeah, I wrote down guilt and I underlined it like 15 times because he was really feeling guilty. And then
Oh,
like
it ate him up.
it ate him up. And then also like along with the use of color, I like the use of sound to show the stress, like the stomping
Yes,
they
because
had and then the
yes, like everybody was
explosion.
like that American dream, like kill him, and he's like literally like sweating, can't think, can't hear any of that. And as
Mhm.
he's walking, he's stepping on like Asian bodies.
Yeah.
Was it Pearl? Was it Pearl Harbor?
Yes. So that's also, I was telling my
Okay.
dad, 'cause I was on the phone with my dad last night, that basically the American people, when asked about dropping a bomb, they was like, all right, well, they bombed Pearl Harbor. So basically, fuck it. We can bomb them
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was their deciding factor for the
Yeah. They're
public
domino.
opinion. Yeah. To go ahead and drop the bomb. But that Nagasaki, Hiroshima is way, way worse than anything than Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
But I feel like I gotta go back and research the World War II because
Yeah. That era, I definitely need to come back
I know
and
like they
revisit
had
that.
like the kamikaze like suicide bombers and stuff, but I'm just trying to figure out how Japan
Hmm.
even got in it. Like, where did it even
Right.
come from? I gotta remember that part
Exactly.
because
No,
I remember
literally.
it was like what Mussolini, Hitler,
Yeah. A whole
and then it's
bunch of
like
folks.
they dropped out, like they're done, and Japan is still fighting. Like, why are y'all still even in it? Like, I don't know. I gotta
Yeah.
do some research on that.
Yeah, I gotta go
It's been over
back
a
and get
decade.
my yeah, I gotta go
Yeah.
back and get my mind right. But I also liked how like he kind of brought like so I hated physics. Like in
Oh
school,
yeah.
that's the one science I couldn't get with. So I knew engineering wasn't gonna be for me and I was not following in my
Hmm.
sister or father's footsteps. But I liked how this movie talked about physics and like it made it very interesting. And I liked how he had one person in the class. He's like, oh, I think I'm in the wrong class. He was like, no, 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 sit, sit. And that class grew so
Yeah.
quick.
That was nice.
It grew so quick and it just showed that like and I just liked how they were touching on like things that had never been heard of or talked about and how they even tried to paint it like that one guy that had questions about like let's build a because they wanted to build a hydrogen bomb and he did not want to do it. He was
Oh
like no
yeah.
we're not going to build that like and he would say it in a way of like oh that won't work we can't do this but there was like kids saying like I think it can but he would like push them away from that thought process like
Hmm.
no get your mind away from that we're not going to build that and let's talk about something that I think we all thought when we watched this. What is going on with Emily Blunt's face? I think she got surgery or something. I didn't know it was her. I literally wrote in the comments, this woman looks like a young knockoff Emily Blunt.
Yeah. I don't know what was going on. I
Then I
think,
realized it's Emily Blunt.
yeah, it, and then it got progressively worse. Like, I mean, I know at the end they made her old, but like when
Yeah.
she was going through like, I don't want to say litigation or whatever they were doing that closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, I don't know what was going on. I really don't know.
Yeah, I kept looking at her like, what did Emily do to her face? Like, I love you. What are you doing? Like, I hope you didn't get like, I don't know if it was Botox and her face just wasn't moving. I don't know.
Yeah.
She was looked so swollen. Like, I don't know. She
Yeah.
didn't look right. She
Maybe,
didn't look right. And I saw people talking about it on the internet, and I'm like, I hope she didn't do any surgeries.
I
Like,
think maybe it was also maybe makeup because she might have looked more like the original Kitty. Because, in
no,
that,
because I saw pictures of her like at the
no?
Oscars and stuff, and she's not looking like she used to. Her face is
Dang.
tighter. She doesn't have like those loose, big cheeks that she used to have. Like,
You're
everything's tight.
right. You're right. But I feel like in that preview, which of course could have been
The
filmed
Fall
for,
Guy or a
yeah,
different one?
she looks fine in that, I think.
Okay, I'll have to look at it. I'm gonna have to
I
look
think
at it because
so.
she just is not looking like her normal self.
Yeah,
And I
no.
would say that, like, before the end of the movie, this was my least favorite performance by her. I thought her acting was very weird the whole movie until the very end. I thought she killed it. Like the last final scenes when it came to like when she came in there and worked the crowd. When basically, and I liked their relationship in a way. I mean, they shouldn't have been together because they clearly like were with other people and they're just kind of like defaults.
Hmm.
But I liked how like the guy was like, "You really want her to speak at this thing? Like she doesn't even have your back. She's too like hot headed." And he was like, "No, like Kitty's got this." And she
Yeah.
came in and she remained very calm and like served them up on a platter.
Hmm.
And I was
That was
like,
my
"Yes,
favorite with her.
Kitty."
Yeah.
I said, "Yes, Kitty, let them know." But like the whole other parts leading up to it, I didn't really like when she was just so stressed and they give their baby up to like their friends and
Yeah.
then the friend is like trying to get information and like asking questions and he thinks that they're like working with the communists.
Yeah. And then it's
It
like
was
she gave the baby up and then went back and had another baby because they had two kids.
yeah,
That was weird to
yeah,
me. And then that one scene though, like when Jean had just killed herself and he's like
yeah,
crying and she's jacking him up like, no, you don't get to make us feel bad for your sins. Like, you saw
yeah,
this woman, you slept with her, you told her not to contact you no more, and now she killed herself, and you want us to feel bad for you. That's your sin. That's on you. You were a married man.
Yeah. Yeah, Kitty was reading left and right,
Mm-hmm.
up and down.
Mm-hmm.
She really was giving it to folks for
Yeah,
sure.
she had a slew of husbands. I remember that. She was like,
She
yeah,
really
my
did.
first husband. She was like,
Kitty's
he
bag was
couldn't afford.
long. Kitty's bag was long.
Mm-hmm.
And then Josh Hartnett was in this, and I haven't seen him in a long time, and I love me some Josh Hartnett.
Who is Josh Hartnett? Josh Hartnett.
He's in O. I don't know if you've seen that, where like the basketball with Julia Stiles and she's dating the black guy, by Mekhi
Oh,
Phifer.
oh
And
yeah.
he's like the son of the coach that's like messing with his mind.
Oh, okay, yes, because that was
That was
a
making him
Shakespeare
think that
play,
his girl
right?
was cheating. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
they made it a
Othello.
movie.
Mm-hmm.
Othello, yep. And then they made the movie O. Yeah, Josh Hartnett. He was like back in the day heart throbs, like back in like the Freddie Prinze Jr. era and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I liked this movie. It was very, very good. I thought it was put together very well. I like how they were showing like both, they weren't trials, but you know, like the election and like the board meeting and his
Mm-hmm.
interrogation both at the same time. And I think it's interesting how the government will literally hang you for filth. Then when like public opinion and things come out and leaks, then you become a hero.
Yep.
It's like you almost have to be the villain before you become the hero, because the final scenes are basically him old as hell and him being back at the White House and they're shaking him saying, thank you for your service. When
Right.
y'all literally stripped this man of his, because the whole
Security
meeting was
clearance.
about his security clearance. Like, should
Mm-hmm.
he have it or not? And it's just wild. Like I'm sure I don't need that security clearance. I don't want to know the secrets, but I know we probably have some pretty deep rooted secrets. Just like any
Mm-hmm.
other country, we do some real crazy foul things.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I
And he didn't
really
want to be a part
like?
of it.
I
What?
really liked how, for one, I just cannot. Ever since I've seen Tropic Thunder, every time I see Robert Downey Jr., I just
Like
think,
Thunder. I don't think that movie performed well, but I really love Tropic Thunder. But wait,
yeah,
I'm sorry. What were you saying about every time you see it in Robert Downey Jr.?
I just be thinking of him in Tropic Thunder. But like, I love his face. I think Robert Downey Jr. is a handsome man, and I feel like they really can move his face to look like all these different people when they do makeup on him. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so like I'm looking at Louis Strauss, and I like how he's like keeps saying that Oppenheimer has turned all the scientists against him. Like he keeps saying Einstein, Einstein. And then I guess his advisor was like, what if they were talking about something other than you that was actually important? And then they go
Yep.
back and show the conversation, and it was not about him at all.
At all. And it was basically him giving him a conscience. Like, why do you think that that's all I'm known for? Is just that because I set all this into effect with that one theory that I proposed.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody tried to make Albert seem like he won't write in the head. He just goes and stares at the river all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was just him feeling that guilt was eating him up,
Yeah,
was
and
eating him
the
up.
whole time Louis Strauss thought it was about him, and the guy finally put him in a reality check, which I'm sure Louis Strauss never actually figured out what they were talking about, probably at the river, but it had nothing to do with him. Albert
At
Einstein is
all.
thinking about the world being blown up,
Right.
and he thinking the whole time Oppenheimer has turned him against him. And also, I liked how he was like, anti-Semitism is going to basically save the United States because Germany was like, this is Jewish science. Like, we're not going to dabble in this because it's Einstein and Oppenheimer. This is Jewish science. So they weren't really, yeah, they
Oh.
weren't really looking into building a bomb like that because they viewed it as Jewish science. So that was the saving grace that probably protected our country, was the fact that they hated Jews
Wow.
so much that
They
they
were like, we
weren't
don't want
even
nothing to
gonna.
do with it.
Mm-hmm. Because if they didn't think of it like that, they would definitely have been.
All in it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's so crazy. And now after seeing this, I thought we need an Albert Einstein movie. I need it like
Mm-hmm.
modern day. Like I know it's gonna take place back then, but I want it modern day with color. And
Well,
I want to know more about Albert.
they have that genius of Albert.
Oh yeah, they
So maybe we
do.
can add that to the list when we come back. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they have.
forgot they do have that.
Mm-hmm.
They do that. Well, I think that was like the first season too that they ever did was on Albert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we can definitely do that. Add that to the list.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this movie I would definitely give an A.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was really good.
Yes, it was really good. It performed well. Um, I was just also with Matt Damon and Emily Blunt. I was thinking of, what's that movie with Anthony Mackie where they keep running into each other. Like he's running for, not for president. I think he's running for New York senator. Have you seen that movie?
I don't think so. Anthony Mackie, who's that?
It's the black man. Okay, so it's Matt Damon and Emily Blunt. They're like love interests, and
Oh,
it's like a timeline. I guess they were supposed to be together, and it's like we have like these handlers, and Anthony Mackie is like his handler, and he's trying to keep him from Emily Blunt because she's no longer the woman for him. But they keep intertwining. I'll have to,
oh, I've never seen that. It sounds very interesting
yeah,
though. You've seen it before, Shawnee?
yeah, me and Vlad. I'll have to when we do,
Oh, okay.
when we go back to New
My that
York.
made my next
Recommend it.
recommended. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
Okay.
cute. It's cute. It's an older movie, but yeah, it's cute.
Okay, okay.
So, but yeah, overall, I really do. I see where I got all the awards. It is
Me
long,
too.
like we said,
Well
guys,
deserved.
but it's worth it. If you watch it at home, you can easily pause it and come back and pick up.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's crazy. The fact that Japan allows us to even come over there. If I was any type of if I was any type of Japanese leader, I'd be acting like Kim Jong Un. I'd be ready to blow the United States
Think
up.
about it though. Oh, that's China, not Japan. So I was about to say, like, we get everything from them though. Like, we're giving them money
Yeah,
constantly. And the way
no.
my Shein cart is set up and the way I've been on Temu, I haven't ordered nothing yet, but I love me some Temu.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking about all the things I'm going to buy but have not purchased yet. I'm like, they're getting the like I think we're in debt to them like millions, if not
Oh yeah,
over a
definitely China.
billion.
But yeah, Japan, you're not gonna kill 200,000 of my people and think you're gonna come over here in Tokyo and have you a
Right,
nice
living it
vacation.
up. And over
Mm-mm.
here playing Tokyo Drift and making movies.
Nope. Not over here in my country. Nope. I would be Kim Jong Un. I act just like that crazy ass man.
And and see, I don't even know, like, is Japan an ally? Because I know we have allies.
Yeah,
Is
I
Japan?
think we're cool now.
Are
Like
they one? Okay, so maybe we put it all to rest when we became allies. Like,
they are better than me. Them and Felicia are better people than me. Cause no, hell no. No American passports, no nothing. Y'all are not coming over here. You blew up
you
200,000.
got to be like the Venezuelan president or
Nope,
whatever he is. They say he used to be real strict like that. You could he was on his Kim Jong Un. You could only wear certain colors, or you couldn't wear red, or whatever
nope.
the case may be.
Everybody is welcome but them Americans. Cause what?
I'm weak.
That is crazy. I mean, just imagine if someone did that to New York and like Dallas, you already know it would not
Well,
be
how
a
many people
Japanese
died in
person.
9/11? I mean, I know Japan didn't do that, but how many people died in 9/11?
Um, of course, not anywhere as near as many as in Japan, but still, you know how
Yeah.
they still be side on brown people on planes. You already know they do here
And oh, in this country or in Japan?
in this country. Like they did all the procedures anyway because I heard TSA was like
Oh yeah, it's
non-existent prior
nowhere.
to,
Yeah, it was nowhere near. It says like 3,000.
but they would have wiped
3,000.
out so much in New York. New York would be no more.
That's true. Yeah.
So, and you know, America, we would not allow. We probably stop all types of travel, foreign travel.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but
How did we become like this? Well, I do know how, but it's just wild how
and
we.
we're the only place that has done it. We are the only place that's dropped a bomb like that, an atomic bomb.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think everybody has one now, though. I'm not sure, but
Oh, yeah.
from what I'm hearing,
Yeah, I'm sure they
I think
do.
the research we all have that. But I think there's
Yeah.
like this agreement that nobody clicked that button.
Yeah.
But I think they be saying Kim Jong Un be threatening.
You know it. And his ass probably ain't even got one for real. He probably fake
I
like he got
know
one.
he's something else.
I
He
heard
is
he had fake
something
cities over
else.
there.
Big cities.
Yeah, like it's this. I forgot who was telling me. Like it looks from a distance because you know you're not really allowed to go over to North Korea at all, and like they're not
Yeah,
allowed
yeah,
to.
yeah,
So it like
yeah.
looks really nice, like these buildings, but it's like nothing in there. It's just for show. Like they're really off. But you know what? Okay, and then I'm gonna get off Kim Jong Un. That whole movie with the Franco brothers. Wait, when they
Yeah,
were plotting on killing him, I don't know how that passed. Like,
wasn't that like a comedy too?
yes, but I'm like, I
Yes,
literally
I
saw that and
haven't
was
seen.
pissed off.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I do wonder how some things get approved because they can see that stuff, like
Yeah,
the internet, this new age internet. And
and
then, okay, Did you see how they're trying to ban TikTok?
I saw that, and I'm surprised
Like,
every
there's a
time I click
whole
on it.
huge thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the US, like, are we really gonna like? I'd be so shocked if the US did that because it's like goes against everything that we like allegedly stand for of like right to choose and all that. And they like
Mhm.
want him to sell it. Like, you can't bully this man into selling it just because you don't have it. We're so greedy. We're like that. The US like that kid on the playground that doesn't get his way and throws a freaking fit. But it's like
Yes.
you're in the wrong. Like, how are you mad and you're wrong?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what people are gonna do if they get rid of the TikTok. People love TikTok.
Mhm. I use it for everything, like restaurants. When I was in New
No,
Orleans, I'm
literally.
like,
Zuckerberg would love it, like, because he owns Instagram. So you get rid of
mhm,
TikTok. I don't know who owns Snapchat, but Facebook and Instagram, same people. So
mhm,
same person. So
mhm.
yeah, I don't know how that works because I know like you can't. They like try to make it even, so it's like that's why sometimes they don't let certain merges happen. They finally let the whole. Is it T-Mobile that bought Sprint?
I think so.
Yeah, because Sprint no longer exists. But like I remember when it was really hard to get those kind of merges to happen. Like I forgot who Walgreens was trying to buy, and they were like, "Yeah, no,
Mhm.
we're not allowing that because it gives you just too much stock in the
Power,
marketplace, like
right.
too much."
Like
Yeah.
you're monopolizing the game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm, 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 mm.
Yep. So Oppenheimer. So we had Oppenheimer, Maestro, and Death and Other Details. And as you can tell, we really enjoyed both Maestro and Oppenheimer. Death and Other Details
Mm-hmm.
was cool, but we could
Meh.
have,
Yeah,
yeah, we
it
could
was
have done
okay.
without it. We could have done
Yes.
without it. So for our next episode, guys, and again, I thank you guys for your patience with all that we've been going on. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
watch Quiet on Set, which is about Dan
Yes.
Snyder, another freaking creep. Poor Things, which is on Hulu. And then we're going to talk about our Watcher Shelf, which is Monster. And if you guys have not read that, you don't have to, but the audiobook is only like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's
Mm-hmm.
a little weird setup. You don't have to, but the movie is on Netflix and it's got ASAP Rocky, Kelvin Harrison Jr. again, because I don't
Calvin
know.
Stan Bob.
Yes. Jennifer Hudson's
Unintentionally.
in it. Right. Jennifer Hudson's in it. Jeffrey Wright from American Fiction is in it. ASAP Rocky is in it. John David Washington is in it. And Lovey Simone from Greenleaf, she's also in it. What else? Imani will talk about Training Day, which I got her to
Mm-hmm.
watch, and then I will discuss The Imitation of Life. So yeah.
Yeah, so this concludes this week's episode. We can't wait to see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend or week.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.